Hey there. Thanks again for joining me. Today I got Peter Shankman, who's the author of Faster Than Normal and the host of the podcast Faster Than Normal, who is also an author, entrepreneur, futurist in residence at Price Benowitz and Blue Shark Digital. I got him back on here again to talk about something that he mentioned on the last episode. What his statement was, understand what you're good at and outsource the rest. And Peter, welcome again to the podcast. I appreciate your time. And what did you mean by that?
I think first of all, thanks for having me again. I think the best way to understand this is this. If I love, let's say I love pizza, which I do, um, I could come home and go to the store, purchase all the ingredients to make a pizza, purchase the dough, the olive oil, pepperoni, the cheese, the sauce. Um, I come home, I could knead that dough, put some flour on it, make it round, uh, then put the cheese, and the sauce and the pepperoni. I guess the sauce, the cheese, and the pepperoni, and then put it in the oven and hope that I cook it to the right temperature, and I guess take it out a little while and then let it cool. And while letting it cool, clean up everything and set a place where I could do that. And it'd probably taste okay. Wouldn't taste great. Or I could spend $25 and order a large extra cheese pepperoni from Claudio's down the street because they make the best fucking pizza in New York City. And it would be here in 25 minutes and I'd have a lot less to do with my life. That is the best way to explain it. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. You do the things you're really, really good at, because when the things you're really, really good at, you enjoy doing more. So the more you enjoy doing something, the better you're going to be at it. It's just constant revival. You're constantly working on it, improving. I know what I'm great at. I know that I'm great at talking. I'm great at talking on stage. I'm not great at selling myself. I'm not great at logistics, right? So I hired an assistant back in 90. God, when the hell did I get her? 2008. And she's been with me ever since. And she does the stuff that I'm terrible at. And the reason I hired her, the turning point for me to hire an assistant, I wanted one for a while, but the reason I finally stepped and hired one was because I I was giving a keynote in Singapore, and they paid me up front, and they gave me a flat fee, and out of that flat fee, I had to pay for my airfare and all that. And they told me to book my hotel and book my flight. And I booked my flight, and I get to the airport like 2 months after I did all this, and I, hey, I'm checking in. They go, great, where are you going? I go, I'm going to Singapore. And they go, really? I'm like, yep, going to Singapore, give a speech. They're like, okay, because you booked the ticket to Shanghai. And
Not the same place.
I was so right. I was so shocked by it. I'm like, I booked it. Right, I'm going to Singapore. Like, right, and you booked to Shanghai, and it was so. I was so shocked that I said, "Well, are they close? Can I rent a car?" And they go, "No, sir, they're not close at all. You cannot rent a car. It's about 3,000 miles away. Most of it's over water. Would you like me to process your new ticket?" And they did, and that speech wound up costing me a couple of $1,000s. So that's when I learned that you do what you're good at, and you let other people do what they're good at, and you hire those people.
So I think that's a great scenario. So that was a lot of wasted time, frustration, and
And money.
yeah, time is money. Um, so that made you decide to get an assistant then, or was there a little bit more of a process, or is there other
No,
things
that was
that?
it. I came back. I came back a couple of days later. I proceeded to put out an ad on Craigslist, I think, and interviewed 5 people. Chose one. She's been with me for 14 years.
Oh, it's fantastic. So what kind of stuff does she do for you besides travel bookings?
She handles travel. She handles any logistics. So, a client wants me in Tokyo at 5 p.m. on a Thursday. She organizes everything from beginning to end, right? Where I'm staying, how I'm getting there. She makes sure that my schedule is clear. She makes sure that my parents know that I'm gone, or the nanny knows that I'm gone, whatever. So the kid is not left at school, um, wondering why isn't anyone picking me up, things like that. Now that being said, I'm really good at with my kid, but it's nice to have a second pair of eyes. She handles my scheduling mostly, so I knew that I was supposed to get online with you at this time because there was a note in my calendar and it beeped at me and said get online with this person
Right.
at this time. So those kind of things.
So if you're doing less of this stuff, what's it allowing you to do?
It allows me to create. It allows me to do the stuff I'm great at, creating content. Uh, Allows me to write, allows me to speak, allows me to write new speeches, allows me to go on TV, all the stuff that I love doing.
So it frees you up of time of stuff you
Yeah, it
don't
frees me up
like
at the
to do.
time that would normally stuck. And look, there are times when I just have to do it, right? I suck it up, and
Yeah.
Megan's like,
Yeah.
if you don't get me those expense reports for the last four speeches, you're not getting paid. I'm like, all right, here we go, and I'll sit down and I'll just plow through it. But In a perfect world, I don't have to do that often.
Right. But that frees you up to do a lot of more stuff that you're good at and that generates revenue.
And also, that's the thing. It comes down to generating revenue. What does it cost me? How much of my time would it cost me to clean my apartment versus hiring a woman who is a lovely woman who will do that for me? That to me is a great example as well.
So now you're talking about value here.
Both, yeah.
So you just came out with on LinkedIn, you put a little post about the value of your time and your mental energy or health. You want to touch a little more? I think that's along the same lines here. You're valuing your time by hiring someone else to do something to save your mental health.
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that you can blame it. You can talk about time, you can talk about energy, you could talk about mental health, but at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're saving something that benefits you. Right. So whatever that might be money, that might be time, that might be mental health, that might be security, that might be happiness. If I have to sit all day and crunch numbers, I'm terrible at that. That will make me miserable. I will be miserable. I'll have a miserable day. I will probably be miserable to my daughter. I'll be miserable to my girlfriend. I won't be a happy person. Right. If I pass that off to someone who enjoys doing numbers, everyone wins. I get the stuff. I get the information I want. It gets done. It's worth that money for me to do it. That's how I explain it. Everyone says, why are you only loyal to United Airlines? I said, because the amount I travel per year, I know that when I get to the airport, they're going to recognize me as a super frequent flyer, and they're going to take me through a back entrance at the airport, so I don't have to deal with security and TSA. I'll go through a private TSA line, and that means that if I have a 7 a.m. flight, I can leave my apartment at 5:30 in the morning, which means that I don't have to leave my daughter somewhere else overnight, and that is worth it to me to stay with that airline. So if it's a few more extra dollars on the plane versus like JetBlue or whatever, it's worth it because I know I'm going to have that experience.
Right. I like how you phrase it, saving something that benefits you. I think it's a very important key thought here, mindset to put that in perspective. Because for me, I've had challenges. I had an assistant a long time ago. It worked well, not as well as it's working with you. And I'm trying to find the new stuff and trying to outsource a lot more stuff, but I always bring it down to a cost. It costs me this. But if I'm starting to look in the mindset as saving something that benefits me, be it money, time, I think a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we don't realize how much time we waste and how much time we spoil. And for me, hearing this is saving time that benefits me now becomes no longer a cost. It almost becomes an investment in myself here.
100%.
And
100%.
and I think for the listener, I wonder, just think about that, saving something that benefits you. And there's nothing wrong with it. You're not selfish. You're just taking care of yourself. And like you say, you can spend more time with your family. You can spend more time doing stuff you like. And it's true. Someone else enjoys doing the things that you hate. Let them do it.
100%.
So, yeah, go ahead.
No, that's the key, is that there is someone out there who loves math, right? There's someone out there who loves accounting. I have an accountant and a lawyer, and they both love what they do. I hate both those things. I give them, they have access to my credit cards, they have access to all my info. They know what to do. I don't have to think about it.
Yeah, and I think that's very important for us. So that, and then like for you, you're a creator, you create a lot of great content, and you need that freedom or free time to be able to do that and not worry about the other stuff. I don't know, like for you, for me, I always seem to worry about the bookkeeper, the accountant, and the lawyer until I got that trust in there. So I guess the other key is to get to find and develop the trust. So I want to go back to your assistant. We discussed the benefits of having her. What you decide, going to, getting booking a ticket to Bangkok and not Shanghai, or sorry, I forgot the places.
Yeah.
Singapore to versus
Singapore, not right.
Shanghai. How did you choose the assistant? What was your criteria to choose? You said you interviewed 5 and you picked 1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm terrible at doing that, but basically I wanted someone who would get me and not be frightened by me, and not run away when it came down to my asking her to do 14 different things that were all in direct opposition to each other. I needed to understand that she would, see me as a challenge and not as an ogre, not as a nightmare to work with. And I got lucky. You never know what's going to be with someone. You always have to take your chances. But it worked very, very well with her. She's a wonderful assistant, and she's been with me forever. But yeah, it was definitely about, I wanted someone who was also going to push back on me. 6 months into our relationship, I tried to put something in the calendar and I realized that it wasn't working. I didn't have, all of a sudden I didn't have access to my calendar. And I emailed Megan, like, it's really weird. I don't have access to my calendar. And she's like, no, it's actually perfectly logical. I took it away from you. I'm like, excuse me? She's like, yeah, if you want to do something now, you'll go through me and I'll put it in the calendar. I'm like, why would you do that? She goes, well, you booked 2 dinners on the same night. I'm like, okay, that's not that big of a deal. She goes, yeah, you booked them on separate continents. You're done. And that was the last time I've been able to schedule something myself. But that's great. That's what you need. You want someone who can push back on you and say, here's the stuff that you're doing wrong. Here's the stuff that I'll take over. You stop doing that because you're screwing it up.
So someone who's also proactive and taking an
Yeah,
active
100%.
interest in. So,
and I had no problem with her doing that. I had no problem with her being, anal about that and taking that stuff over because she's better at it than I am, hands down.
Yeah, and then there's a few things you said there that, to me, as an ADHD entrepreneur, I think a lot of us, the listeners, have to pay in mind and be aware of, because I don't know if a lot of the listeners are aware of this, but many people are frightened by us as the entrepreneur. A lot of people are
no question about it.
workers. We come up with too many ideas. We change our minds too much. We're like I say, once I get a dog on the bone, I'm a full force. You got to deal with. So, and you're right. So we need people who are not frightened by you and they see you as a challenge, because we're a challenge. And then someone who can push back. I think those are 3 important key criteria for actually almost any employee. So they got one guy here in engineering. He's starting to push back now, and I'm enjoying that. Because that means the guy's thinking and challenging.
Well, that's the other thing is that if you're hiring people who do their jobs better than you could do their job, shut the fuck up and let them do it.
Yeah. And the same guy, he just loves numbers and Excel spreadsheets. So that's all he does now. And that's all I give him. I come up with the concept and idea. You create the product and
exactly.
we're done. So, okay, good. Is there anything else you want to add to this concept about the outsourcing?
I think the best thing I say is the more you can outsource, the better. Focus on the core competencies that you're great at and keep doing them. At the end of the day, you want to be working on the stuff that makes you happy and the stuff that you're good at. That's your job, right? Outsource as much as you possibly can. Give them their job. Let them do it. All right. Don't be that hover boss. Just let them do their job.
Right. So what's the point of hiring someone if you're going to do it for them or do their thinking?
Exactly.
Which I think a lot of,
and that's what I always told. I always told Megan that I'm like, feel free, ask me as many questions as you want until you get it. But once you get it, if you tell me you got it, you better have it, because the worst thing is going to be if you tell me you got it and then you still screw it up.
Yeah.
Right. So tell me you got it and we're good. And I won't bother you again. And as long as everything, but if you have more questions, sure, come to me. But don't tell me you got it and then screw it up.
Right. And that's a common challenge for a lot of us.
Yeah.
Wow. This is a very short episode, which I love it. That's why I like talking.
Think about who you're talking to.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like about it. Short and sweet, direct to the point. There's not a lot of verbal diarrhea, which I really enjoy. But this is a short and succinct topic. I think the listeners are getting a great value out of this. Again, figure out what you do best, outsource the rest so you can concentrate on your core competencies, because you actually make more money doing that and you have more enjoyment. I really like this from you, Peter. Saving something that benefits you with the outsourcing. What's important to you, and don't feel ashamed or guilty or feel selfish about it. Take care of yourself, and there's nothing wrong with it.
100%. No one else is like you. You have to do your own thing.
Right. And I think a lot of us struggle with logistics, and it's something we should just kind of give up and let that someone go, and to have faith in that someone can help you and take care of you. And as long as you give them the vision and they can execute that vision for you, what else do you need to do?
Amen. That's exactly how it should be.
Thanks again, Peter, for your time. To you, the listeners, let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you have an assistant or if you're struggling trying to figure out why, I'd like to hear. Send me an email at andre@andreb.ca. I would love to hear from you and your success stories along this line. Peter, thanks again.
My pleasure, man.
All right. Take care. And to you, the listeners,
take care.
Thanks again.